It's time to share secrets and insights from fellow entrepreneurs. If you're looking to grow or start a business and you're a game changer, then keep listening to Avanti Entrepreneur for great advice from your host, Dave Mamano, America's Entrepreneur Coach.
Hey, Avanti Tribe, Dave Mamano here. Just want to thank our sponsor, Paychex. You know, Paychex, they make it simple for businesses of all sizes to pay and manage their team. They make payroll easy with employee pay options, including direct deposit, checks, pay cards, and so much more. Founded over 4 decades ago to relieve the complexity of running a business so that the owners can focus on what matters most. Above all else, and more than any other company, Paychex makes it simple. Visit AvantiEntrepreneurGroup.com. Go to our partner link and check them out. They're offering you a free month of payroll just for giving them a shot as an Avanti Tribe member. Give them a shot, folks. They really help this podcast to be possible. Really appreciate Paychex. Now, enjoy the show. Hello and welcome to the Avanti Entrepreneur Podcast. I am Dave Mamano, your host, and we're here to help entrepreneurial achievers and business owners and leaders move forward. That's what Avanti means in Italian, move forward, so that they can reach their potential. I do this by interviewing just incredible business movers and shakers. Today I have on the show, I'm going to say a business mover and shaker on steroids. So excited to have this conversation with Allison Maslan. Allison, welcome to the show.
I am really excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, you are a superstar. I've been following you on Facebook, and so I knew who you were for quite a while. Great content, great inspiration. And then I met a mutual friend, Mary Shores, who I just interviewed for my podcast. And she's another superstar. And she told me that she's coming to your upcoming conference, which we're going to talk about. And it's January 17th, correct? If I'm remembering it correctly here.
It's the 18th to the 20th.
Oh, so I'm gonna get there.
You're gonna get there early, yeah.
I want to be prepared, right? So, but Mary Shores introduced me to you, or told me about you, about the conference, and then reached out to you. You reached back, and here we are. I'm going to your conference, and you're on my podcast. So thank you for being so friendly and accessible. Totally appreciate it.
Absolutely, I'm honored to be here.
So I'm going to read your bio. It's nice and succinct, which I like, and then we're going to really dig into all the value that you're bringing the world. So Allison is the CEO of the Pinnacle Global Network, the world leader in scaling businesses. Her new book, Scale or Fail, is a Wall Street Journal bestseller that is endorsed by Barbara Corcoran and Damon John of Shark Tank. Wow. Allison built 10 successful companies starting out at age 19. Now she and her team of CEO mentors, they're paying it forward, helping business owners worldwide scale their company while at the same time create a passionate life. Allison has been featured in Success, Fortune, Inc., Fast Company, and Forbes magazines, and she's a regular contributor to Entrepreneur magazine and a featured expert on ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN across the U.S. She also hosts her weekly video podcast, Allie and You, the Business Success and Lifestyle Show, which I watch a couple episodes, and it's super fantastic. So, Allison, thanks for all that you bring and truly appreciate it. And so 10 businesses, holy cannoli, that is super fantastic. So talk about a serial.
Or super crazy, depends on how you look at it.
A manic, serial, successful entrepreneur, right?
Yeah, definitely a little of that that manic. I probably am slowing down a little bit, but
doesn't seem like it. I don't know. It seems like you're still going pretty fast, but I definitely want to dig into some of the 10 businesses and the lessons learned along the way. But really pressing, I want to kick it off first because you got 2 great things going on. You just launched a brand new book, Scale or Fail, and you have an event coming up. So why don't we kick it off if you could tell us about the book and tell us about the event, please.
You mean this book that I just
love that book.
Right next.
If you're on video, you're seeing the book right now, Scale or Fail, available on Amazon.com.
Yeah.
So tell me about the book.
Yeah. So over the last 35 years, that's what I've been doing, is starting businesses and scaling them up. I've sold 4 companies, exited 4 companies, and many of them still are running today. And my 10th business now is mentoring business owners all over the world. I have a team of CEO mentors, and just, I'm so blessed to be able to help business owners on this journey. But what I find is that business owners, even it could be 10, even 20 years, could be stuck at the same level. And it's because of getting stuck in habit, doing the same things that you've been doing for years, the same things you did when you started your business. And that is not going to get you to that next level. And it really is not about working harder. It is about applying the right creative strategies. It's about thinking creatively and implementing, of course. And that's where you can multiply your impact. And I just felt like, gosh, this is a hidden secret. People don't know. They think it's just grinding it and working harder. That's going to get you maybe incremental growth, but not the really big leaps. So there are a few books out there on scaling, but none of them from this perspective, and none of them written by a woman. So I thought, okay, it's time to do it. And so let that be me.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, and you're right. You look at a lot of successful people that really have brought their business and their life to an exponential level. And, they're working, but they're not working like crazy hours, and they don't look exhausted. And what that tells me is they have figured out a way on how to scale their business and scale their life without having to do it all, right? All the pick and shovel work, right?
Yes.
And you're right. I know a lot of people that are working their tails off, and they're making those 6 figures, but they're exhausted. And I think the trick is, how do you get into the high 6 figures, the millions, while not exhausting your wattage and your bandwidth, right?
Yeah.
And
even the multiple 7 figures. I mean, you might think, oh, we're at 2 million now. We're set and we can coast. But you've got a big entity that you're running, and so you have to continue to grow that. And so it's getting the right infrastructure in place and then getting the right scale strategies. But I was talking to a woman today, in fact, who has a drug testing business in Arizona. And she's been in business, I think, for about 5 years. And it's growing incrementally each year. However, she is just running from fire to fire.
Yeah, and she's going to burn out, right? Literally.
She's going to burn out, and she's losing money. And, we think of, well, I can't afford to hire, but you're actually losing money by not getting the help. And it's so counterintuitive. It doesn't make sense in our brain because it's like invisible dollars that are going down the garbage disposal.
Yeah.
Like every day, it's like you're just taking a chunk of money and having it go down the drain.
Yeah.
Because her value is not to be doing the bookkeeping, not to be, answering 100 questions of customer care, things like that. That's not the best use of her time. But that's really where most business owners get stuck.
So let's say, a lot of Avanti entrepreneur listeners, they've launched a business, they've gained some traction, maybe they've grown it to $1 million-ish, and they're at that level where they're starting to get a little burnt out. They're maybe feeling like I've grown this company with my gut instincts as far as I can, and I'm flustered, I'm frenetic, and I don't even know if I enjoy this anymore. Mm-hmm. So I am going to call Allison and please help me, Allison. What are some of the first things you're gonna try to help that person to get a grip with?
Well, we're going to really dive into the entire business structure, and that is looking at the revenue streams, what marketing that you have in place, your sales strategies, sales conversions. We're going to look at your team org chart, even if it's one person, freelance, your leadership style, and how you're spending your time. Where is your energy going? And, generally we find a few things that are happening. One is that there's like this much time spent on sales when that really needs to be a big part of, what the CEO is doing. It's not necessarily picking up the phone and cold calling, but you've got to be out forging those important relationships. And that's a lot of what I do. I'm out connecting with people. I'm building relationships so that I can get an endorsement from Barbara Corcoran or Damon John and, building the brand. And that's really how I've been able to get so many doors open. If I was working on things and running errands and doing admin responsibilities, none of that would ever happen.
Well, and it's easy to quote unquote be busy, right? And put out those stupid little fires that really don't grow your business. And for me as the CEO of my own company, I'm very intentional about instigating at least 2 hours a day when I am focused on kicking doors open, right? Either new relationships, existing relationships, how can I scale those up? Because if I'm not doing that at least 2 hours a day, then I feel like I'm wasting time. I'm wasting, and not to brag, but I'm probably the best at it. I invented the company. Who loves it more than me, right? And to take that passion and funnel it into sales and marketing, I feel it's really my main responsibility as the owner of the company.
And even if you have a sales team, the founder, the CEO needs to be building a revenue-focused company. So they have to have their eye on it all the time, And I think the idea is, I get this person in business development, and then I don't really need to deal with that anymore. Right. Sales tank. Right. So it is super important, but you're gifted at it. Not everybody is, and it doesn't come natural to them, or they feel uncomfortable. And I think this idea that it's sales, and if you can look at it more like you're sharing, like you said, you're sharing your passion. Like for me, in all my businesses, I never felt like I was pushing it on anybody. I'm just so excited and passionate about it. I want the right people to be able to benefit from it.
Well, because you can help people, right?
Yeah.
You know that you don't feel like you're selling, you feel like you're helping, right? Because in your heart, if they work with you, they're going to be better off in the long run, and it becomes an investment. They're not, it's not an expense. It's an investment working with
Absolutely. You. Absolutely. And so, but it really is shifting, working, getting yourself out of the day-to-day, out of the weeds of your business, working on the business, working on implementing the strategy that is going to take your business to, along that trajectory.
Excellent. So speaking of that, I want to get to your event, which is called Level Up Live, which is coming up January 18th to the 20th.
Yes.
How long have you been doing this event for?
This is our 8th year.
Great. And so what is the uniqueness of this event? Why should people come?
This event is unique because it's a working event. We have incredible speakers that I'll tell you about, but it is not where you're just sitting in the audience taking in all this information. It's very interactive. And what happens is that by the end of the 3rd day, you have completed a customized blueprint for your business for the entire year of 2019.
Wow, perfect timing in January, right?
Yeah,
yep.
That's why we do it in January. You leave with a plan. And so many events they're great events, but you're inspired, you're motivated, and you come home and you go, all right, I got some great ideas, but I just don't know what to do from there. You know, how do I put this in action? So we really break down the how and the step by step on all areas, your revenue streams, marketing, sales, hiring, building your company culture, systems, you know, everything that's going to get your business to level up in 2019.
No, it's a great name. So we'll put it in the show notes, but just tell our listeners, Sue, if you don't mind, if they want to sign up, where do they go?
They go to levelupliveevent.com.
Great. And just so you listeners and viewers are aware, I will be there. So if you go, I will be there. Super excited. So Allison, one thing I really like to help my listeners with and my viewers with is the wellness factor of being an entrepreneur, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's so easy to get really just caught up in working, creating money. I'm looking at you, and you look healthy, vibrant, energetic. You look like a force of nature, right? Yes, you're ready. You're ready to just tackle and make some things happen. And I know for a fact, you got a lot going on. So how do you manage to have this really calming yet energetic look? Like you're not this frenetic, crazy person, even though you're working, you got a lot of great stuff going on. What are some of your habits for success to keep it all together and stay healthy mentally and physically?
Well, I've had the experience of the opposite, and, just the wisdom of experience, hitting the wall, being in that place of total exhaustion. And even if you love what you do, you can burn out. You can just do too much of it. There is such a thing.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I've learned the hard way, it just doesn't work. And I remember one time, a friend of mine flew in from Europe, and I was meeting her. I walked into the hotel, and she goes, "You look like hell." And I was like, "Oh, thanks."
Leave it to a European to just tell you the way it is, right?
Yeah. So, I know what that's like. And so I've learned that just doesn't work for me. And I learned to catch it way before I cross over the line. And that's putting those self-care practices in my life. So plan 2019, I'll be taking off 1 week every single month all year long. Right. So, you can easily take 3 weeks of work and turn it into 4. So why not take 4 and turn it into 3?
Love it.
I also have been a homeopathic physician for 20 years, and I don't practice anymore, but it's been a big part of my life, and I believe it's helped me stay healthy, be resilient, be more balanced, kind of body, mind, and spirit.
Excellent. How about just daily habits, exercise, eating well, meditation, anything like that?
Yeah, so I have been, exercise is a big part of my life. I mean, you're sitting, like I'm sitting for this interview, or I'm sitting doing work, and if I didn't move my body, I think I would be a mess. I've had the same fitness trainer for over 20 years. Wow. Who literally kicks my butt. He is an ex-Marine. And I remember going through a challenging time when my daughter was a teenager, if you've ever had teenagers.
I have
and I remember his thoughts like, if I can do this push-ups, I can do anything. Or he's got me running at some crazy pace on the treadmill. And I'm thinking, if I can get through this,
right,
that's a piece of cake. So exercise is a big part of my life. I'm also a trapeze artist, and which is kind of unusual.
I've never had a trapeze artist on my show. So
well, now you have. Now you have. So I've also been doing that for 20 years, and that's pretty darn exhilarating. But that's my form of meditation, because when you're up there, you're not thinking of anything else except for what you're doing. You have to be completely focused. Yeah. You are so in the moment. Yeah. And I think that's really what meditation's all about.
Sure. So I have to ask, how did you happen to become a trapeze artist? That's got to be an interesting story.
Yeah, so I was a gymnast growing up. I had a set of uneven bars that my gym teacher built for me in my backyard out of plastic tubing. And I used to just flip around those all the time. I was in competitive gymnastics all the way up to college. And then when I discovered that you could actually learn to fly on the trapeze, I went to Club Med, and I remember just walking. I looked up and saw this thing going, you got to be kidding me. And so I took a class, and from the moment that very first swing, I knew I was hooked.
You were hooked.
I was hooked, and I found a 5-generation circus family in LA, in Woodland Hills. The Guyonas, and had been driving from San Diego to LA, week after week after week, year after year. And then last year, I built my own trapeze in my backyard.
Wow.
I didn't personally build it, but that was my big gift to myself.
Yeah. And how many people have that in their backyard, right? So
yeah. Not too many.
So my next question is, so getting back to your business. So 19 years old, how did you happen to start a business at that young age? And what was it?
Well, I grew up in a very entrepreneurial family, and my father built a big chain of women's clothing stores. And so it was just business as usual. Right. Growing up. That's what was talked about at the table. And I just didn't think that I would do anything else. I couldn't hold a job either. Let's be honest. I was either fired or quit.
Unemployable.
Totally. And so I was in college, and I started doing poems for birthdays and anniversaries. It was called Expressions by Allie. Mm-hmm. And I thought, people were loving them. I was getting paid $25 here and there. And I thought, this is really cool, Yeah. And that's, obviously it wasn't going to sustain itself much with just the poetry angle. But by the time I was 25, it had evolved into a full service advertising and PR firm. As we moved on from poems to brochures, and then television commercials, radio commercials, PR, things like that.
That is awesome. So congratulations. And then, from that, 9 more businesses, which is fantastic. And so my question is, not your book, Scale or Fail. So we obviously know that you know how to scale. You've done that quite well. How about some stories when it comes to failing? Have you
Oh yeah, I know how to fail too.
All right. you want to share one with us, or what?
Yeah, sure. So when I built up the ad agency, and just backing up a little bit there, I had no idea what I was doing. I really didn't know how to scale a business. I didn't know how to delegate. I didn't know how to put systems in place. And so I kind of built this business flying by the seat of my pants, making it up along the way. And I was doing pretty well at that. But then it took over my life, like what we were talking about earlier. I had no life. I was working day and night, ad campaigns, at 2 and 3 in the morning. My daughter was under 2 years old then, and I was a complete wreck. I mean, you want to talk about self-care? It was beyond. I was running myself into the ground. And so I ended up having a really horrible car accident from the stress, being late to my daughter's daycare. And I, was just about the end of my life from that. And I survived, obviously, because I'm here.
Thank God.
But yes, it was really a miracle. And I just said, I'm so done with this. Like, I can't live like this. If this is success, I don't want it. And so I walked away from that very lucrative business, gave it to my partner, walked away from a difficult marriage at the same time, and set out onto the world with absolutely no idea what I was going to do. My family was up in arms. Everybody thought I had just gone mad.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of shut out all of that, the naysayers, and I gave myself a year to figure it out. And I studied what was I doing right and what was I doing wrong. Because I was doing some things right. And so I began to study clients that I had helped to market and grow their companies, like Ben & Jerry's and Supercuts and Charlotte Russe and Allstate, and really looking at the underpinnings of their business. And I built a blueprint for growth and for scale. And, I've tweaked it and evolved it along the 35 plus years, and then jumped back into the game, but built the rest of the 9 businesses, the 9, more businesses in a very different way.
Yeah.
That I've had a blast with.
You have a calming presence about you, even though I know your foot is on the pedal in a big way, right? So you've kind of mastered growing without ruining your health and your mind, right?
Yeah, I know people say that about me. They say, God, I had one time a client of mine who is the president of Charlotte Russe, and they've sold scents for a lot of money. Mm-hmm. They did it at the right time. And he goes, I just need to stand next to you because you have this very calming energy. And I don't know, I don't always feel that on the inside. My husband's like, if they only knew.
you go home to a primal scream room or something, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've got one of those bean bags. I'm just, constantly.
Yeah.
I'm not. I do generally feel calm. I think the secret really is I just love what I do.
Yeah,
I really, truly love what I do. There are parts of running a business. There are parts of the things that come up that, you're not always like, woohoo, I can't wait to do this.
Yep.
But my overall why, my overall mission, and seeing our clients, these business owners, multiply their growth, just have so much more joy in their lives, taking vacations like they haven't done for so long.
Yeah.
And really helping them make an impact. Yeah. So I feel like I'm not pushing it, it's pulling me.
Yeah, I love it. What a great way to say it. I have a question for you. So your book, I love the title, by the way, Scale or Fail, if you can't tell, because I've said it about 50 times. But big question. So are all businesses meant to scale? There's a lot in today's world. There's a lot of solo entrepreneurs, a lot of millennials are starting businesses, and a lot of much smaller businesses, we'll say. So are all businesses meant to scale? And if not, is that okay?
They are not all meant to scale. But I feel that a lot of them don't because they don't know otherwise. They don't even know what that means exactly. And so my book is great even for those early business owners, because I think if you knew these strategies, you'd put them in place from the beginning. Because what happens is that even if you want to keep a small lifestyle business, which is fine, but then it becomes a job because, like we've been talking about, you get sucked in and you're working in the business, or you're working with the clients, but you're glued to the chair all day long. And you can only help so many people.
Yeah.
Right. And you go on vacation, you go to sleep, there's no income coming in, and it's all dependent on you. So there are some strategies you can put in place that will change that. And it's just the next evolution of the business. But obviously it is the choice of the business owner if that's what they want to do.
Yeah. Allison Maslan, I could talk to you probably the whole day, but because this is a podcast for entrepreneurs, and as you know, they have a short attention span, try to keep it around a half an hour. But if people want to learn more about you, your book, I'll say it again, Scale or Fail, and it's also the tagline at SOAR, and our biggest, I skipped something here, Scale or Fail, How to Build Your Dream Team, Explode Your Growth, and Let Your Business Soar. And your event coming up January 18th to the 20th called Level Up Live. So we'll have those in the show notes, of course. What are some other ways that they could find you and get in touch with you?
Well, our website, AllisonMaslan.com, And if people want to reach out to me directly, just go to support@AllisonMaslan.com. And that's it. And you can, on my site, you can see the show. You can learn all about our Pinnacle Global Networks where we mentor business owners. But hope to see, if you are interested in what we had to talk about today. As you said, we've only have a short time together. But if you really want to dive into your business and get that customized plan, come to Level Up Live. We've got about 500 business owners flying in. We've even got people coming from Germany, so from all over to get.
And even Rochester, New York. How about that?
Yeah, I love it. We're going to have that. Rochester is going to be spoken for. So that's
Rochester is in the house. Absolutely.
Yes.
So, Allison, this has been a true pleasure. And also, I just remembered this. I want to tell our listeners to follow you on social media. You've got a great social media presence, very inspiring. So I want to mention that as well. We do have to go. Allison, thank you so much for being on the show. Totally appreciate your time. Looking forward to meeting you in person soon. And I wish you continued massive success.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And thank you, Avanti listeners, for listening to the Avanti Entrepreneur Podcast. For this podcast and over 100 more, go to AvantiEntrepreneurGroup.com. Make it a great day and stay awesome.
Thank you for listening. Head over to AvantiEntrepreneurGroup.com for show notes and more helpful advice from entrepreneurs like you. Continue to find your entrepreneurial rhythm at the Avanti Entrepreneur Podcast.